Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to the STEM Digital School. This is Coding for Grade 8 and I'm your presenter, Mr. Paul de Klerk. And there you can find my email address. So if you have any questions, then you can send it my way. If you are joining us via the live stream, feel free to use that email address as well. And then if you would like to come and join us in the classes so that you can send us questions in the in-class chat, then you can visit the Africa Teen Geeks website, ask your parents to register with the email address, and then they will receive the links to all the lessons. So this is the first time that we have this class, so I just want to quickly introduce you to what coding is, and then we will get into coding. So coding is the way in which we tell computer programs what they are supposed to do. Okay, so there are many different coding languages. Like we as people, we have languages that we speak, and it differs from culture to culture or from country to country. The same thing happens with computer code. So computer code, you will hear many people refer to coding as a coding language, and there are many different ones. Okay, so what is important to remember is that certain languages are better equipped to do certain things and other languages are better equipped to do something else. And many times you use a combination of different coding languages to get something done. So to give you a very easy example, I have been using coding now for about 6 years. And my main focus is to create content on the internet. So I build websites for people. And I also build any platform that somebody might want to use that is based on the internet. And the two main ones that I use there is HTML and CSS. So HTML tells the code sort of what to do and what to show. And then the CSS is the styling of the code. And then sometimes we use something called JavaScript, which is a code that you'll hear a lot about. And that is to do certain things that might be extra. Okay, so that is what coding is, but you will have a much better idea once we get into the lesson and you see what it is all about. And this is a very fun way that we have to learn coding. When I learned coding, it was much different. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. The class is 45 minutes long, so we should be finished by 9:45, okay? And your classes will always be that long. And for this week, at least, it will happen at 9 o'clock every day. Please feel free to invite your friends that you also think might be interested in this. And I think that's basically it. Before we get going, I just want to quickly talk on some good practices when we're using an online classroom like this during Zoom. So the chat box is there for you to ask questions and for me to respond. And I also share information in there. So please don't spam the chat box and chat to your friends during the lessons. Just keep the chat relevant to what you see on the screen. And then also your cameras, try to keep them off. If you accidentally switch them on, we will switch them off again. But an accident doesn't happen 5 or 6 times. So please be mindful of that. The moment you switch on your camera, it closes up my entire screen and then I cannot see the content that I'm trying to teach you. So I think with that out of the way, let us get going into the lesson for today. So when we are talking about coding languages and coding in general, there are some principles that we must know, and this will create a good foundation for us to build off of. So these principles, I wrote them myself, and they come from experience and from what I see the students are struggling with. And these principles are aimed so that if you have them and you apply them, you create good habits, and those habits can be applied to any coding language that you might learn. So even though the platform we are on today is going to be based on JavaScript, these principles, you can take them over to any other language and apply them as well. So this is to create a foundation so that you can walk before you run. Okay, so the first thing is we want to identify the goal. So you'll see we have lessons and puzzles, and we want to make sure that we understand what the puzzle wants from us. Sometimes it just wants us to move the character. Other times it wants us to do something with the character. So we need to move the character into a certain position and then do something, okay? So we need to identify the goal. Next, we want to follow the problem-solving workflow. So once we have a goal, we can break that down into many smaller problems. So instead of trying to write a 10-block code or code that is 10 blocks long to solve the entire problem, we can break it down into smaller problems, and then we only have to write a few blocks of code each time, making it easier for us to do that. So what we want to do is we want to identify the smaller problem. We want to create a solution for that problem. Then we want to test our solution, and then we will adjust the solution if we need to. If our solution is fine, then we don't need to adjust anything. We can just continue. And the last one is we want to apply information management practices. So you will see in the later lessons, this is not really important in the beginning, but there will be a lot of information on the screen that we will use to code with. So we want to manage that information to make it easier for us to read and to make it easier for somebody else to read our code. So let's say one day you work in the IT world and you are writing computer code, and somebody else perhaps is coming to work on the same project, then they can easily see what you've done because you applied information management practices. Okay. So today our first lesson is the dance party, and we are going to try to do puzzles number 1 through to number 7. If we don't get to number 7, that is okay. So I'm going to jump into the coding screen. If I can find it, there we go. Right, so I just want to show you something here quickly. We are using code.org for now. We are developing something else, which is very exciting, and you will find out about that once it's up and running. So we are using code.org, and we are on the Express course, the 2019 version. Okay, that is the latest version that is available. You do not have to sign up for this. You do not have to go and join this. If you want to, you can, because it is absolutely free for now, but you can get the links from me during the lessons, and I'll share that to you. And here we can see that there are about 28 lessons, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the end of course project is the last one. And what happens is from lesson 1 going down, we can see that we start learning more difficult principles, and we start building on top of that. So for number 1, it's just a warm-up so that we can get to know the platform. Number 2, we start learning sequencing, okay? And I'll tell you about that when we get there. Then we move on to loops, conditionals, functions, variables, and so on and so forth. So this is really a very good course to build a strong foundation for you to code from. So we are going to start with puzzle number 1 today. I just quickly want to see something. Okay, so in the class, we do not watch the videos because we live stream to YouTube. YouTube doesn't like us playing videos through there. So what I advise you to do is I'm going to share this link to you. And after the lesson, if you want to, then you can go and watch the videos on your own time, okay? But you do not need the videos as long as I am here, because I will tell you more than what the videos are telling you. The videos and the instructions on the platform tells you what to do and how to do it. I tell you why we do that, okay? So that is why I'm here. So I've pasted the link in the chat box. You can click on that link, open up a Google browser and a Google tab, and you will navigate to this page. Then you can use the restore down button, which is right next to the minimize or the close button that you find at the right-hand top corner of your screen, and you can make it smaller so that you can see the Zoom screen where I am working, and you can see your own screen where you will be working. If you are on a smaller device, you're not on a computer, you can still watch us doing this, okay? I haven't tried opening this on a smaller device such as a mobile phone, so I'm not sure how well that will work. Maybe you can give it a try and let us know. So your first instruction is, once you have this link open, for those of you that can open it, the link in the chat box, just type a yes for me in the chat box so that I know I can continue and you are seeing what I am seeing. So if you're ready, just type a yes. Okay, good. We have our first yes there. Okay, many yeses coming through. So I usually wait for about 3 confirmations and then I continue. So I'm just going to click on OK here. We're going to look at that again. Now I want to walk you through this entire platform. Okay. So at the top, you can see this is lesson 1 dance party. Right next to that, we can find the different puzzles. And if it's white like this, it means we haven't done it yet. Once we've completed it, the circle becomes green. Okay. When I share the link with you in the chat box and you have it open, copy it from here in your address bar and save it somewhere. And I will do this right before we say goodbye so that you have that and you can go and play on this platform on your own, right? And then if you click on this dance party lesson 1, it'll take you back to the page with all the lessons on there. I just want this to load quickly so you can see. And here you can come and revisit things that we've already done, or you can work ahead if you'd like to do that. But I don't help the people that are working ahead of us. You need to wait for us to catch up to where you are if you are working faster than the rest of us. Okay. And then you'll see here at the end, there's a small flag, and those are the lesson extras. So this is a section that I created for you guys to use under my account that I have with code.org. And I've activated the lesson extra. So the extras are extra puzzles that you can use to practice the things that we've learned during this lesson. I don't do that during the class time. So that is for your benefit to go and do that on your own time. Right, so then we need to move straight into this entire thing here. So first up, we have the instructions. So remember I said we need to see what the goal is and identify the problem and then think about how to solve that. So oftentimes this block here, which gives us the instructions, they will tell us all of that. So we can see here, drag the make a new block into the workspace and connect it inside the setup block to create your first dancer. So the goal is we need to create our first dancer. Okay. How do we do that? We drag this block into the workspace and we connect it inside the setup block. Okay. So they already gave us the solution to this puzzle. Now, it doesn't always work that way. The more difficult puzzles, they don't have this many instructions. They might only have 1 or 2 lines, and then we need to figure out the rest. Okay, so here they say you can also click the light bulb to the left if you want more information or extra challenges. Right, so there's a light bulb and you can click on that to do extra challenges or to find out more information about how all of this works. The next thing you need to know about is this white block here on the left where my arrow is, the mouse pointer is making that circle. This is the play area. So everything we code, we will see happen in this box. So now it's white, but once we start going into some other puzzles, you will see it becomes a different color there. Okay. So, and there might be a maze or picture on them. So this is the play area. And under the play area, we have the run button. Now you can see the color of the run button. In your workspace here, there will always be a block. This one is set up. In the later puzzles, it becomes when run, but the color of the block is the same as this button. So the code for this entire program has been written so that when you click on this button, this block will activate. And it will start running any code that you might have inside it. If it's a when run block, it will run code that is underneath it. If it is a setup block like this and there's code underneath it as well, all that code will start running. Okay, so without this run button and the block that is linked to it, we can put all the code we want in the world on this page and we won't see anything happen. Okay. So that's basically this area here. Once we start moving to more difficult lessons and puzzles, I'll show you the extra features that are coming. You can also adjust your play area to be larger or smaller. And for this is a dance party, so there are songs up here that you can choose as well. But this we don't change during our lessons. But if you are playing on this in your own time, then you can go and choose a different song that you might like your dancers to dance to. My site is muted because the sound doesn't play nice with the live feed to YouTube. But if you are doing this on your own and you're not streaming it anywhere, then you can go ahead and choose any songs that you'd like. So after that, we move into the toolbox, and this is where all the blocks are. So in this, they're called blocks, and this is how we learn. But if you get into real coding, I'll show you an example. This is what real code looks like. And this is what I had to learn on when I started coding. This is called line and text-based coding. So this is the actual code that any software program runs on. This is what it looks like, okay? So we have these blocks here to help us learn those ideas, but you will never actually really code anything in these blocks with regards to computer programs for a client or for a company if you work for a company. Right, so this is the toolbox now. There's only this one block here. They become much more involved later on with different types of blocks that do different things, but we'll chat about them when we get there. And then as you've seen here, we can get started with this puzzle. It says drag the make a new block. So here's the make a new block. If you click on it and you move your mouse over, you can drag this. You can't drag it. If you drag it off here, it's just going to delete, okay? If you put it in the workspace, you can place it anywhere in the workspace. But code that is like that, you'll see if we hit the run button, it's going to say unused code. So we must make sure that this is connected to the block that is linked with that button. Okay, so for this, we're putting it inside that setup button, setup block. But if it's a when run, we might put it underneath. But you always see that small yellow, it looks like an arrow that's being created. So once you see that and you let go of your mouse button, then it will attach to that. Now this code is linked to that, and now this will run. Okay, before we run it, there are some toggles here. These toggles, we can't change an awful lot at this moment, but when we move into more difficult puzzles, some of the other blocks, they allow us to change a lot of things. So what we need to do is we need to create our first dancer. For that, we say make a new cat, okay, because that is the option that they give us. And we will name the cat my first dancer. Take note of the underscores. And then we will place the cat at the center of this play area. So if I enlarge this a little bit and I hit run, there you can see we have a cat that's dancing. And if your volume is on your computer, then you will hear the music playing, okay. Right, so did you understand that? Can I move on to puzzle number 2? That was easy enough. Just a yes in the chat box and a no if I need to speak about this lesson again. Okay, right, many yeses. So the first one, we took a bit of time to get to know the platform. From now on, we're not going to touch on the platform unless there's something new that I need to show you. Excuse me, right, so here, let's have a look. Let's get this moose dancing. Drag out the new dancer, do floss forever block onto the workspace. Connect it underneath the after 4 measures event block. Your dancer should start a new move after the 4th measure. Measures are used to count time in music. In this tutorial, a measure is 4 beats long. Okay, so this isn't really important for us to know to identify the goal or the problem, but this is. So what we want to do is your dancer should start a new move after the 4th measure. So this is our goal. We want the dancer to start a new move, okay? And this is how we do it. So let's read the code before we do anything. This is saying setup, make new. This time it's making a moose. Previously it was a cat. You can change this back to a cat if you'd like, but I'm going to leave it on moose just for now. We want to call this dancer new dancer, okay? And we want the dancer to be placed in the center of our play area. Just see how big I can get this without the button getting away. Right, so now we're putting an event block underneath, and this event block says after 4 measures, do something. What we want to do is we want this to happen. So here we can say new dancer. Remember, the moose's name is new dancer. If we change this here, then we need to change it here to match that. Otherwise, this block will not know what dancer he should apply this to, okay? So after 4 measure, the new dancer, do floss. We can choose dab or drop. So if you want to change that to a different dance move, you're welcome. I'm going to leave it on floss because the Fortnite has made it so popular. And then this says forever. This arrow at the moment isn't really important, so just leave it the way that they give it to you, okay? We're not going to get into that now because it's really not important. Now, once we are happy with the code, we click run, and now you can see our dancer is doing one move. The measure is counting down. Now, after the fourth measure, the move changes into a floss. Okay, and if you are actually listening to the music, you'll see that that happens on the rhythm. So are you happy with puzzle 2? Can we move on to puzzle number 3? Or do you want me to speak about puzzle number 2 again? So yes to move on, no to revisit this puzzle. Said he's saying yes. Right. So I have a couple of yeses coming through there. Tanisha. Okay, Natalie, you want me to talk on this again? I'm going to do that. That's fine. Right. So whenever we want to start over, we can click on start over, say start over, and then it will reset the workspace to what we had when we began with this lesson. Okay. And this, I just want to share the link again for if somebody might have joined and I missed the new people coming in. So there's the link for anyone that wants to click on it to get onto this page. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this moose dancing. So right now, okay, we can't remove that because it's been given to us. But right now we have this that we made in the previous puzzle. The only change is we're not using a cat, we're using a moose. Okay, but you can set it back to cat if you'd like to. So this is saying setup, and the setup is what is being done when we click this button. Okay, because this button, you see the color and the setup block's color is the same. So what we click, when we click, this button or this block needs to do something. And it is going to make a new moose. We can make a new cat as well, but we choose moose. And we will call this moose new dancer, new underscore dancer. And we will place this moose at the center of the play area. You can move him around if you'd like to, but I'm going to leave him in the center for now. Then we see they are saying that there is a, before we carry on, let's just run it so we can see what happens. So you can test this. The worst that'll happen is it'll tell you your code isn't right yet. You need to try a bit more. So you can see there, it says your dancer wasn't doing a new move after the fourth measure. So all that means is you can do this 100 times. You can click on run 100 times and it'll just keep telling you, okay, try again, try again, try again. Right. So that is where we get into that test phase of the workflow. Okay. So now we see your dancer wasn't doing a new move after the fourth measure. So here is a block. This is called an event block, and it'll say after 4 measures, then we want to connect it to a block of code that's going to make something happen. And we know from this, your dancer should make or should start a new move after the 4th measure. So we know after the 4th measure, a new move needs to happen. We don't want to make a new dancer then. What we want to do is we want this dancer to start a new dance move. So currently it's only doing this swinging of the hands. But we can put this in and then we will see that after 4, the new dancer, remember that's this dancer's name, okay? New dancer is going to do floss. We can change that to any other dance move that is available to us. And then if we run that, we can see there's the 2nd measure going, the 3rd measure, the 4th measure, and now it's changing its dance move to the floss. Okay, Natalie, are you good now? Can we carry on? Is everyone happy? Can we move on? Type yes. I'm going to take a sip of water while you type. Okay, good. Please, guys, if you are unsure, say no. We can revisit this. If we don't get to puzzle 7 today, then I don't skip puzzles to carry on with the schedule. I make sure that we discuss every puzzle that's here. So if we only get to puzzle 5 today and we were supposed to start at puzzle 7 tomorrow, then we start at puzzle 5 tomorrow. And then we carry on, and then I just adjust my teaching plan for next week. accordingly. Right, so don't stress. If you don't know something, please, let's talk through it. Okay, now we're grooving. Add an after 6 measures event block to your workspace. Make the dancer start a new move after 6 measures. So here is our goal for this puzzle. Make the dancer start a new move after 6 measures. How do we achieve that goal? By adding this block into our workspace. So what we have here is what we had in the previous one, except now we have a different sprite. So these characters, they're known as sprites, right? Almost like the drink. Now we have different sprites to choose from. This time we are choosing Duck, and now we can call him Ducky, okay? We can also rename him, or we can rename all the sprites to Ducky, okay? So what we have here is we're creating a duck called Ducky, placed at the center. After 4 measures, Ducky will do the dab move. So let's run that. And then you can see there's Ducky looking cool in his hoodie. And he's approaching. Now he's going to do the dab move. Okay. Now, we are supposed to make him change to yet another move after 6 measures. So we just add another event block here. And this event block is set to after 6 measures. Now, here's the first time that I can show you. We can change these values. If you click here, you can change this to 8 measures if you'd want to, but we want to leave it at 6 because this is what our instructions are. Our instructions are saying after 6 measures. So we leave it at 6. We can change this to seconds as well. We're not going to do that because our goal is to do it after 6 measures, not after 6 seconds or after 20 seconds, but after 6 measures, right? And then we want the move to change. So we take another one of these blocks and we say Ducky again, because that is what the duck is called. That's his name. To clap high. So we can choose Gangnam style, or we can choose dab, or whatever we want. Now I'm not going to choose dab because dab is being chosen here. And then the system won't see that he's starting a different move. It has to be a new move after 6 measures. So it has to be something that he's not doing at that time. So let's take Gangnam style. There we go. Difficult Korean word to pronounce. We make this a bit bigger, and then we run this and have a look. So there 4 measures have passed. Now Ducky is doing dab. And 6 measures have passed. Now Ducky is doing the Gangnam style dance. Okay. So do you all understand that one? It's easy, right? Okay, Lasidi says yes. Okay, good. So the yeses are coming in. Great. So I just need to run this again so that we can move on. It's changing after 6 into that dance there. And the program will self-terminate, okay? But if it wasn't for that, then this would have run until the song finishes. Okay, so we can continue to puzzle number 4. Okay, this dance needs some flash. Look for a new block in your toolbox that adds a background effect behind your dancer. Watch the effects change in time with the music. So what we want to do is we want to add a background effect behind the dancer. That is the goal. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to find that block that says set the background effect. And there it is. Now we have to decide where are we going to put this in. So this is where we start learning about sequences. So if we put this at the bottom, then you will see that it's going to create the new dancer, this time a robot, and his name is Fancy Dancer, and he's at the center. After 4 measures, Fancy Dancer, the robot, is going to do this move. And then once this is done, the background will be set. After 4 measures, the background will be set. Because code runs sequentially, what that means is what we put first will happen first. What we put last will happen last. So you can choose, if we do it this way, let's see, there's no background effect at the moment. But after 4 measures, there should be a background effect. There's a background effect. You see, it started here. But if we move this to the front there, before we make our robot, now the background effect is going to be there from the beginning, because that is where it is set to. Also, if you put it here, just move that back, underneath that, everything that's in this block now should happen sort of at the same time. It doesn't really happen at the same time. This happens first and then that, but it's so quick that our eyes cannot see the difference, okay? And we don't have a way to slow it down, so we can say that it happens at the same time. Okay, so the important thing to notice is if we put it before this, after 4 measures, it will happen before this happens. If we put it after this, it will happen after that. So I want you to start thinking about, when we speak about this, we don't talk about putting this under that or putting this above that. Let me put it there, above this. We talk about, because we are not speaking about an up and down position, we are speaking about when things happen. So I want you to start talking about, put it after the make new block, or put it after the Fancy Dancer block, or put it before the make new block. Okay, so I want you to think in terms and the language that you're using of before and after, not on top and below. So we can change these effects to what we want it to be. So let's say electronic, because he's a robot. And this is obviously going to be sort of the color effect that's happening. Let's say we want random ripples. Now when we run it, oh, look at that. It's a bit weird, but there we go. Make me dizzy. We can change this to black and white. Okay, so it seems like the first one sets sort of a color, and the second one sets the type of effect that's happening. Okay. Change that to black and white. Then we just need to reset this, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so are you guys happy with this one? Now, if you are listening to the music on your computer, then you will realize that it is changing the effect, or the effect is copying the beat of the music. Okay. You won't see it now because I'm not playing the music, but if you play it on your own, then you'll realize. So if you did type something, I missed it. Can we move on to puzzle number 5? Okay, good. Right, let me just quickly put this link in there for somebody that might be new. Or if you just accidentally clicked off and you're lost now. Use another new block to make the dancer change moves every 2 measures. So there is our goal. Make the dancer change moves every 2 measures. Not only after 2 measures, but every time 2 measures happens, the dancer will change move. So choosing next, previous, or random tells the dancer to perform a different move every time the code is run. So the new block we have is this one. It's called a repeat block. Okay. And this is saying repeat every 2 measures. We set this to measures and we set it to 2 because that's what they want us to do here at the top. Now a repeat block works by whatever you put inside this is going to happen every time this condition is met. Okay, so every time 2 measures have passed, it's going to repeat the code that's inside, the sequence inside. Okay, Now they can take more than one block of code. So what we can actually do is we can also change the background effect every 2 measures. So let's see where we're at first. We see here that we're setting up a background effect of neon. That's sort of the color, and this is the type, square. Then we're making a new dancer, a cat, and the cat's name is Crazy Cat, and we will place the cat at the center. So then what we want to do is I'm doing this as an extra, you don't have to do this. We're going to change the background effect to, let's say, ice cream, and let's make it diamonds. Okay. Now, because we can't set this to change between the effects, it's going to look like it stays the same. And I'll show you what I mean by that now. Now we want him to do a different dance move. So we put this Crazy Cat in here. And this is saying Crazy Cat because the dancer is named Crazy Cat. So we need to say Crazy Cat is going to do. Now, if we just make this dance move the same by saying double down, what's going to happen is every 2 measures, it's going to change to double down. So what we will see with our eyes is it's going to look like the move isn't changing at all. It's the same as with this effect. But luckily with this, we can set this to random or next or previous. So if we set it to previous, it's going to run from wherever it is all the way back. If we set it to next, it's going to just jump to the next move. And if we set it to random, it's going to choose just any random sort of dance move. Okay. So let's just read through this again. Set up the background effect, neon squares, make a new cat called Crazy Cat. That's the name of the dancer or of the sprite. And we place him at the center. Then every 2 measures, we want to set the background effect to something else. And we want to change the dance move to something random. Okay. Just want to check here. Oh, there we have a random effect there. So that's going to help us see how it changes. All right. So now when we run the code, you'll see 1 measure is happening, 2 measures. Now after 2 measures, it's moving into a different dance move and the background is changing. After 2 measures again, different dance move and the background changes. So this will keep happening each time after 2 measures until the program terminates, which in this case, either it's a preset time or it's when the music finishes. Okay, so do you guys understand that? Does it make sense to you? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. I've got a lot of you saying yes. Let's just see how this termination happens now, and then we can move on to the next one. Okay. Puzzle 6. We need more dancers. Create a backup dancer called backup dancer 1 to dance with the cat. So what we want to do, the goal, create a backup dancer. And we want to label that dancer, name that dancer, backup dancer 1. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set the background. We're going to make the cat who is called lead dancer now. Then we want to make the new backup dancer. Now we can choose where we want this backup dancer to come in. In my opinion, we're going to just put it right here. That will make the backup dancer and the lead dancer appear at the same time. And then this repeat is saying, let the lead dancer do the next move after 2 measures. So what we can do is we can also add, make the backup dancer do the next move after 2 measures. So now we've gone 1 step further. We've created the backup dancer, and we've also said, let the backup dancer's dance move change. So let's see what that looks like. And there we have 2 dancers this time. The lead dancer is the cat, and the backup dancer is the duck. And we can see that here, cat and duck. And we can change this around if we want this one to do different dance moves and we want this one to do different dance moves. So now if we run it, you'll see that the lead dancer is going to do random dance moves. And this one is just going to go into the next dance moves. So sometimes they'll be the same because it's randomized. Other times it won't match. But let's set this back to next. It just looks better that way. Yes, it is possible to put 3 backup dancers. And I think we're going to get to that in the next couple of puzzles. So this is an open workspace, and you'll see here close to the end, you can do whatever you want to do. So it gets quite crazy. We end up with a dancer here with an entire circle of dancers around it. Okay, so can we move on to the last puzzle for the day? We have to go through it very quickly. So if you guys say yes, then just know we're going to run through it very quickly and we will revisit it tomorrow. I always review the last puzzle the next day. Okay, good. Let's go on to puzzle number 7. No, we don't want to watch the video yet. Now look at this. Every dancer has a set of properties that controls what it looks like. You can make it look like a dancer is in the background by making their size smaller. Can you make both backup dancers the same size? Okay, so our goal is we want to make both backup dancers the same size. So we need to have a look at what's happening here. We see that set the background effect to cool diamonds. Then we make a new duck as the backup dancer number 1, placed at the right. Then that backup dancer number 1, there's the name, we are making the size 50. So now we're going to make a new robot called backup dancer 2, placed at the left. Now the goal is we want backup dancer 1 and backup dancer 2 to be the same size. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this block in here. And you see here, you can change any one of them in the toggle. So we are going to put that block in there and we are going to say, like we said, backup dancer 1 size is 50. Backup dancers 2 size is also 50. Then it is saying, make a new frog as the lead dancer. And there we have the lead dancer is going to do the next dance move every 2 measures. And the 2 backup dancers will, after 4 measures, do this dance move. So initially it's going to just sway in the back. Let's have a look. Okay, so now they're doing the same thing. There the lead dancer is changing into the next move because we have this repeat 2 for the lead dancer. And now we can see that those 2 at the back are doing the fresh move. Okay. Now you can play with this and you can put this in here as well and remove the after 4 measures. And you can set this to next and set this to next. And now they should all be doing the same move. Okay. There we go. You can see they're doing the same move there. And it's going to change every 2 measures. You can also play with the sizes. You can make them bigger and smaller. You can also set this lead dancer size there by changing that to lead dancer. And then you can make the lead dancer even bigger. I don't know what size the lead dancer is now, but let's say 120 and see what that looks like. Yes, there you can see the lead dancer is bigger. So I would have actually liked the lead dancer to be around 120 and the backup dancers to be around 70. Remember, our only goal for this puzzle, there we go, now they're all a bit bigger. Our only goal for this puzzle is we want to make both backup dancers the same size. Whatever else you do is fine. You can do that, you can play with that, that's not a problem. And again, this one, you can set to random and you can set the color to electronic as an example, and now you'll see that it's going to make different effects. No, it's not. We need to, this is going to create it once. If we want new effects, we need to put it in the repeat. I forgot. Over here, random. Let's set this one to colors. Okay. So now you'll see after 2 measures, the background changes and the move that they're doing changes. Right, so I think that's enough for today. I'm going to jump onto this screen here. So we did get to puzzle number 7 today, but we will revisit puzzle number 7 tomorrow. In the meantime, go and practice that. Just as a last step, I quickly want to do this. I always forget this part. Oh, come on. There's the link again for you guys. If you'd like to play here, you're welcome to do that. Send your code to me here, questions, anything that you'd like to share. And tomorrow we're going to do puzzle, oops, that's supposed to be 7 to 13. Okay. Thank you to the STEM Digital School. And please come and give us a follow on these social media handles and use those hashtags when you post about us, and invite your friends to come and join us. Have a great day. Goodbye, guys. See you tomorrow.